Good evening, everyone. Welcome to RVing in New England. I'm Bob Zagami.
And my name is John DePietro.
And we're glad to have you join us. This is going to be an exciting show tonight and a lot of fun as we tell consumers about technical training that the industry is offering.
It's also a milestone. It's also a milestone.
Well, it is. It's our 154th show. So that means I was sleeping in the last 4 weeks when we should have told everybody when it was our 150th show. But we'll fix that when we get to 200, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that'll only be a year away. Unless, you know what? The reason we got more than that in is because we were doing twice a week back in March and April.
When COVID hit, we did double duty, right?
And with the news that hit today, with Boston going all online for school, maybe they know something we don't know. And I'll tell you, we had a medical provider tell us, if you want anything elective, you better get it done, because they think in November there's going to be another medical shutdown for, elective procedures. And, who knows? But the crazy thing, Bob, is all this stuff has been, look, there have been families that have been devastated. I don't mean to minimize that at all, but from an economic point of view, this has been a boon for the industry.
Yep. And I talked to several dealers this week, and I mean, dealers that have stocked in the past 200 new units are down to 40 units. There's not an Airstream to be had in New England.
Right.
It's amazing, and they're waiting for the replacement orders to come in. But now what's happening is they're selling the replacement orders before they arrive. So everybody gets excited. They see 10 new RVs showing up on the lot, and they run in to see what they got, and they say, "Oh, stop! Those are already committed."
Well, anyway, they already have a for sale sign them already.
Yeah. So look at.
But the interesting part about
Hemmeler. But
I was going to say, the interesting part about this time of year right now is, we're a week away from Halloween, and we're still in short sleeves, and during the day, in the morning, it's cold.
I still got my shorts on.
Yep. Right. I'm going to try to get one more weekend out of the RV this weekend. One more weekend.
One more. Okay.
And I know that's nothing compared to Kavosa and Cole and all those guys that they go in.
You'll be cooking the turkey over the campfire.
Yeah, that's what I understand. I want to get one of those fryer turkeys.
Here is our guest, Curt Hemmeler, the Executive Director of the RV Technical Institute in Elkhart, Indiana. Yeah, something. I don't think it's my end.
So, Curt, it was totally coincidental that when he said turkey, you appeared.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
It was a total coincidence.
Gobble, gobble.
Well, at least I didn't put it down in your welcome down below.
Exactly. Hey, I'm glad to hear you guys talking about that elective surgery being put off. It's another reason I don't have to get my shoulder done again. If this keeps going, keep pushing it till I'm 60.
Oh, well. So look at, we've got people
for the whole year. Sometimes it's better to get rid of it. Some people may have looked at our, some people being Jerry Plantson from Majors RV, Jim Convoy from New England RV Roof does a great job with Flex Armor. Jerry says, had an inspection today, one on Friday and Saturday, and another one next Wednesday. Yeah, I understand. The one you did today was a referral from Mr. DePietro. That's good. And Mark Polk is on. Good evening, gentlemen. Well, didn't you notice that John is here, Mark? You throw that term loosely. Two gals in the Boston Brood. Hello, Curt, Bob, and John. That's Michelle and Laurie from Rolling on TV. And where are you en route to Arizona? I know you're going down.
No.
They're going to Georgia.
She's going down south first before she heads out.
We're going to go to Worthen Park. And Eric Teller, hello from Paradise Lake Campground in Spout Springs, Virginia. Eric, glad to have you. Is he part of your fan club, Curt, or you know him?
I don't know.
Oh, hey. How'd you find us, Eric? And are you from New England and just heading to Florida for the winter? So we scheduled this, and it may seem strange for people to see the title and see who you are, especially if they're in the industry. But the focus tonight really is on the consumer and the things that you have done in changing your curriculum with COVID and what have you. So why don't you first tell us who you are, and we'll get into some of the great programs for consumers.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks, Bob and John, for having me on the show. I think this makes the third appearance, so I always enjoyed being on this. And hello to everybody this evening. So I'm Curt Hemmeler. I'm the Executive Director of the RV Technical Institute, headquartered in Elkhart, Indiana. We are a startup that began about 1.5 years ago when the industry came together, providing $10 million to start a school to really do one or a couple things. First was to standardize a curriculum and put in place a curriculum that could be disseminated across the country. The second was to recruit more folks into the industry to help fill the void of technicians after a decade of very positive sales and the number of RVs that are on the road out there. And then the third was to really create a career path for technicians. We hadn't had anything of this nature before, but now we have the opportunity to bring folks together in a focus on the technician themselves, giving them a career path, whether they're working for a dealer, whether a mobile tech, or they're working for an independent. So that's us. That's our school there. Thank you for showing the picture, Bob.
So from a consumer standpoint, there was a big difference this year when you switched to online. So explain the online level, and let me just get caught up with Tammy Hollins. Hi, Tammy. Tammy's part of your staff. Great staff out there. Frank Kate. Frank is here. And Walter Swenson, good evening from Central Mass. Walter, I never did get the tally on how long it took Walter to get home from Florida the other day.
Walter,
did he break the record?
He drove, I know on the way back, because I didn't clock him, but I checked. He drove 692 miles on the first day and then apologized that he didn't hit 900 like he did on the way down.
That's true. Yeah. So Michelle and Laurie they're joining from Lebanon, KOA, just outside Cincinnati, Ohio, Bowling Green, Kentucky tomorrow for the Corvette Museum and a distillery, of course, and then Wharton RV Park down in Georgia. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to talk about Drab and Fab in a little while later there.
Okay.
Eric is from Ware, Mass, was up in the KOA at Twin Mountains a couple of weeks ago, went through
Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland.
And that Twin Mountain KOA, we just got word this week, they won the President's Award and the Founders Award from KOA. So we get a lot of great KOAs up. Not a lot. We get several, but the ones that we have up here are really great. All right, back to you, Curt.
Wait. Time out.
What?
We have a guest. He's got the best Italian name ever. And it's not Eric Tuller. Do you know Dante Vespignani?
Oh, wait, I don't know. Green from Maine.
Dante.
I'm in Old Orchard Beach, Dante, right now. I'm in
Vespignani.
Yeah, I'm in Seacoast Resort on Ross Road in Old Orchard Beach. So where are you in Maine, and how'd you find us? We're glad you're here.
Curt, we'll get back to you in a second after we talk to our studio. You got to admit, it's the only show where a live studio audience for a call-in show. Let me ask Curt a question. Let me ask Curt a question. Oh, he's in Windham, Maine, not too far. So, Windham is where
Lee's Family Trailer. Do you work at Lee's Family Trailer?
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll talk to our guest.
Big deal is
to come all the way out here from Elkhart via Savannah. Where are you? Hilton Head.
I'm in Hilton Head, yes.
So, Curt, when we met you a few years ago, I mean, the building wasn't done yet. Everything was kind of on paper. And what it all boils down to is we're out there for the grand opening. Was it a year ago or 2 years? Was it just a year ago?
No, it's just over here, September 25th.
Yep. And and you're all set, ready to go. And there's the grand opening stuff there. I remember where that was. And then COVID hit, and it could have said, oh, you know what, let's fold the tent on this and not even do anything with it. But somebody got positive, and I'm guessing it was you, because you come from an education background and not an RV background, was able to turn the program. But I think it's exciting that the general public is now going to have access to the same learning materials that the professionals do, because of the fact that what I've learned through posting on Facebook is there are a ton of DIY guys, of do-it-yourselfers that want to do their own thing. And right now, a lot of them are relying on Facebook, not Facebook, but YouTube videos to do a lot of the maintenance that's involved in their RV. And the great part about YouTube is that there's a lot of content. The worst part about Facebook is that you don't know what of that content is legit and true. And, when you're messing with a rig that has propane and fuel and a whole bunch of other things, one wrong turn can lead to a road of disaster.
For sure.
So at least they're getting the straight scoop from you guys. And
well, keep in mind, John, to that point, it's unbelievable to think that was a year ago. All credit must be due to the team. I've had the luxury of working with a very talented team that has helped us push this over the finish line in a very short period of time. But the curriculum was designed by the industry experts, supported and stood up by standards. Standards are all about safety, so the curriculum that we created, we passed off to a third party called Nocti Business Solutions, who allows us to endorse that and give credibility and accreditation to our curriculum. It's not something that we just said, hey, this looks good, let's make this the curriculum. These guys came in and really put it together in a professional way based on the industry. And so with that, safety is always in the forefront of all the curriculum that we're putting together. And another thing that I wanted to mention to the consumer and why RVTI is so important to them is because if any of them have had the unfortunate experience of getting ready for a nice spring, summer road trip, and they go in and see that their air conditioner isn't working or something's not quite there, and they had to take it in for service, and they hear that it's going to be an average of 21 days to get that back. That was a big piece of the industry getting behind, saying this just isn't acceptable. And our RECT is what we call it, repair event cycle time, which is the time a unit's dropped off to the time that it's repaired. And, to be 21 days, that was way too long. So the industry wanted to get behind it. And this was, I have to emphasize, this was not just one part of the industry. This was the manufacturers, the suppliers, the dealers, all reaching in their pockets to make this come to life. And I think that's, as I look at that picture, it puts a smile back on my face, because it's in this industry, it's not very often that you have all of these components at one place for one party. And it was truly and also bringing in a state representative too wasn't bad with Jackie. So
yeah, she's a big proponent of the RV industry and real close friend in Congress, and she does a great job. When you speak about building the curriculum, we probably should mention a friend of ours who passed away in April, and Gary Bunza, known as the RV doctor. He worked with you right up until he succumbed to COVID-19. And, we all miss Gary. He was such a wealth of knowledge in our industry and so giving. But you've come up with a scholarship program at RVTI for Gary?
We have. It's probably our most proud moment this year is the loss of him was painful, but the scholarship keeps his spirit alive with us. And I can't emphasize enough this curriculum, and Tammy, who works on the RVTI team, is on the call as well, can attest that it wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for Gary being a part of creating it. So they spent 2 years working on this curriculum, and there isn't a day that goes by that we say, if Gary was only here, he would tell us the right answer to this, because he was true spirit of the consumer to the industry. And he always made sure that you know, it was for the right reasons that we did things. So yes,
that's what I like. That's what I like about the scholarship. And because Gary was all for the consumer with all of his seminars around the country, especially the Hershey Show. I mean, you couldn't have a Hershey Show without going to one of Gary's seminars. But
Bob, the thing that
he wrote for over 30 years, he wrote for trade and consumer journals. Yes, John.
The thing that impresses me the most about Gary, I think it was in Syracuse.
Yes, it was at FMCA. Yeah. It was an FMCA
or Good Sam or one of those two.
Yeah.
But Gary, Curt, I don't know if you ever saw him perform, if you will, but he performs to a full house and takes questions from the audience, you know, and has his presentations, et cetera, et cetera. But the more impressive part about that was that after it was over, he had to leave the room because there was another presentation coming in. So he said, look, let's meet out in the hallway. And the hallway turned out the courtyard to be too big. And he ended up having, you know, giving another class for an hour and a half. How do I know it was an hour and a half? It's because we were waiting for him to go to lunch. And finally we said, forget it, we're going on our own, Bunzer. You can do what you want. We brought him a slice of pizza, and he was still teaching. And so many times you see people, I don't care what the industry is, but after they speak, the first thing they have to do is grab a plane and get to the airport instead of answering the questions. And Bunzer was better than anybody I know. And you know what? He would share that material.
And we all learned from him. I certainly did. We did that. So back to the consumer, back to the scholarship, and that for right now, I think it may be just a trade scholarship, but the dealers who are on and any technicians that are on, they should be aware of it.
Yeah, we have obviously I had it finally approved through. I have an RVTI board that I report to. And just here in October, we had our meeting, and they approved us all the dynamic behind it. And just, I would say, keep looking at the website, rvti.org, as we launch this for 2021. And, you know, this is the whole spirit of the scholarship is wrapped around, you know, dealers, consumers, sending folks into the industry to learn from, you know, really the makes of Gary and what he created while he was here, because the curriculum has Gary's aura all over it.
Absolutely. So the course for the consumers that they can take, they can take it online at their own leisure. And when they pass it, the course includes the testing and the like, and they become a level 1 certified technician, even though they don't want to be a technician. But again, when consumers look, they may be working in the general public now and be an active RVer, but to John's point earlier, when they retire, they could take this to another level, become a level 2 or a level 3, and they could do RV inspections out on the road, or they could do repairs in the campground where they're camping. So there's a lot of value to the course itself. But tell us what's in the course that would get the consumer excited.
There we go. Bob, you're freezing up every once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Paid your electric bill?
No. Comes with
it. Sure.
Gary, did he freeze to you also, or just to me?
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So with the level 1, this is the first of 4 steps currently. There's level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. This is wrapped around the RV technician career path, what you can expect to learn and what you expect to be able to do with level 1. You mentioned it already. This is a 7-course area focus. Includes propane, electrical, plumbing, chassis, body, generators, everything that's in the house part of an RV, you will learn about. You will learn about propane systems. You will learn about Ohm's law. And as you said already, Bob, it might be a lot if you're not looking to professionally go into the field for a full-time employment. But it definitely is going to save you lots of money as a consumer for being able to do some of the repairs yourself as you go into these 11 modules that focus on those 7 areas. But I also want to emphasize that this was created for somebody who is not a wrencher by trade. We've had over 300 students train in it, and we've had people from the industry. We've had military folks. We have had a gentleman that worked at a hotel. We've had truck drivers. So really anybody can get into it, and you can do a lot of things with it, whether you do part-time work with it, whether you do it just for self-interest. It is set up to be a program, and you mentioned the self-paced option. That's the one we just introduced. This is the anytime, anywhere. You do it at your own leisure. It has labs built into it. At the completion of that, you can sit and take the certification test. Or you can also buy textbooks. You can buy the textbooks that go along with this. You can come to Elkhart and sit in class. We don't have classes going on at the current time, but we will relaunch them in January, pending no COVID interruptions. And then there's also, we have authorized learning partners. These are folks across the country, dealers, different organizations, high schools that will be offering our curriculum. And what makes it kind of unique, if you're a consumer and you want to get into it, go into your local dealership. If you're interested in some work or what have you, I assure you they're looking for good techs. See if they have anything available. But if that's not your path, you can also just take it on your own. There's no requirement.
Yeah, and we mentioned it earlier, but for those that are joining late, we've got Curt Hemmeler, Executive Director of the RV Technical Institute, with us. The ability that you brought, the experience that you brought as an educator to the RV industry cannot be understated. So you weren't somebody that was just recycled within the RV industry that's been out there and thought they were looking for a job. They had to go find an educator who understood buildings, methodology, training, online courses, certification, testing, finding the right kinds of partners. So you've been a pretty busy guy for a couple of years.
Oh yeah. I've been drinking from a couple fire hoses. I've shared that, my experience in camping, I had to enlist to do. I did 12 years of service, and that was my camping. Never did the RV living.
Didn't you like those foxholes?
I didn't have to quite do the foxhole thing. I was, but it was definitely sleeping with some of my best friends. That's for sure.
Yeah. All of them.
Why do you think the colors are Army colors?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
But
so
they do have a good mug.
But it's I've learned a lot. I can't emphasize that. I have learned so much, and I had an interesting situation a year and a half ago when I joined the RV industry. Is there was a Caterpillar, the construction folks, at the same exact time were talking to me, wanting to do something very similar with my decade of training and career and vocational training and so forth. And I chose the RV industry, and I'm so glad I did, because this was an industry that actually put their money where their mouth was, with the putting money towards it. The support was there, the industry. And let's face it, it's a whole lot more fun in the RV world than it would be, riding around on a Caterpillar tractor. So, but it's been a terrific ride. I have had nothing but the utmost support from my board and others. Like I said, I've just had the luxury of being able to help drive the ship, and the support has been there, and we're just getting started is what I'd like to say. We've got.
What you say it's been a nice ride. You mean it is a nice ride, right?
Yes, it is a nice ride. Yeah, it will continue
to be continued.
on our show.
Right. Let me catch up. let me catch up with our fans.
We got some good stuff here.
So Eric is retired and heading to Florida. He's an escapee member going to their Florida campground. Dante says, greeting, okay, from Maine. He is from Wyndham. He's 4 miles from Lee's trailer, but he does not work there. Uh-oh. He says, sorry, I'm not Italian. Well, you are. You are tonight, Eric.
Eric.
Oh, that's Eric. Oh, Eric says sorry I'm not. Okay.
Dante, there's no way Dante can deny that.
No. Don Hawes.
With both names.
NRVTA has been open a few years, and the instructors there's another training facility. Tammy says, Gary is a legend that we relied upon heavily. We miss him. We sure do. Don says, anyone interested in RVing should be constantly learning more, whether you own your rig or to work in the field. That's true. And Don's a work camper, and he's back down at NRVTA for the winter down at the Texan RV Park. Walter Swenson, can I test out of the level 1? Walter, you always have to ask the most intelligent questions on this show. So I'm gonna leave that to Mr. Hemmeler because I couldn't do it justice.
Well, I couldn't have teed it any better up. So thank you, Walter, for throwing that up there, because the answer is a big old fat yes. As we created this curriculum, the team created this curriculum, we knew there was a large amount of people out there that are very good technicians, very good. Some of them, many of them self-taught, some of them taught by dad or grandpa, some taught by the military. So we had to create some things that allow people to test out. So yes, you can test out of both level 1 and level 2. And other options are you can just order textbooks and then test out. So something to keep in mind is the testing part, the actual test that you take at the completion of the curriculum is handled by a third party. We orchestrated all the pricing and cost is wrapped into one cost, but the testing is done separately so that we can keep the integrity of the test and the defensibility of the test.
Let's stop for 1 second here. For those of us that are not familiar with the term test out, would you explain that? Because I think what Walter's trying to do is get the degree without taking the class. Is that
correct?
He can do that. He still has to pay the bill without giving you the free one, Walter. But
yep, there is. You do not have to take one bit of the curriculum if you feel you can pass without taking any of the class, and that's what I mean by test out. That's what I thought. If you've been a technician for a lot of years, and you can pull up the material, take a look at it, see if this is something I think I can do, and then by all means you can sit and take.
Well, as we mentioned about his driving ability, Walter doesn't do anything slow, and if there is a faster way to do it, Walter will find it. He's an engineer with Dell Technologies.
I think that's how I got through college. I just took the test without going to class.
Tammy says retirees who RV full-time comprise a sizable portion of our students. And I apologize for looking the other way, but I can't see the text on my small computer, so I need the big monitor. So thank you, Tammy. Jose is on. He says, hi, Curt. Our team was there today shooting with Susan and the gals from RVIA. Well, it just
RVWA.
What is it? It just so happens that I happen to have RVWA on standby because they're doing. Well, Curt, you must be involved with this. It's in your building, right?
Oh yeah,
so go ahead and explain. Jackie's. I see Jackie's there visiting also. Go ahead and explain this.
Sure. Yeah. No, we were very excited. So RVWA, the RV Women's Alliance, is led by a woman by the name of Sandy, the executive director, and Susan, who have a nonprofit group to recognize and attract more women, but not just women, diversity into the industry. It's free to join, by the way. So anybody, you can be a consumer, you can be in the industry, you can join.
Yes. We're members. Bob and
yes, exactly. I'm a member. Yeah. I'm a member. Yep. And so it's a great organization. And one of the projects they're working on is called Drab the Fab. You'll find it on their website. You'll find it on our website. and we were excited to partner with them. So the pictures you have there, Bob, are inside our facility, our headquarters in Elkhart. It is it's about a 4-month project. They anticipate, believe, completing around Valentine's Day in February, where they will actually raffle off.
Raffle it off,
Yeah. And so Jackie was there this past weekend as our state representative. She was there swinging a hammer and helping the ladies out. But this is all going on in the back of our building in our bay, and we're excited to support them and for a good cause. But this is something that's an interesting fact, and I've talked to many dealers about this, and they all come back with that. They said, give me as many women as you can find me, because they do really, really well, both in service and other things, and if you think about it, I think the auto world figured that out before us, because
they did.
Too many places that you go to get your car repaired that isn't a young lady working as a service manager at that front desk. So great organization, great to be a partner with it, and definitely something I would encourage everybody to check out and get involved.
We post that on our Nerve to Facebook page and keep up to date with them, and we have at least 3 of our dealers who have women as service managers.
Mm-hmm.
And we all, if we're honest with ourselves, guys, we all understand they're more detailed, they're more logical, they don't jump quickly to an incorrect conclusion. So the dealers have recognized that too. And you're right, it took the auto industry to kind of show the way, but
we're talking a lot about the back end of the business right here. But look at Flag, for example. I think 2 of their top 3 salespeople are women.
Yep.
Right across the street at Flag RV.
Well, I'm proud. Yeah, I'm proud to be married to the first woman to be the #1 salesperson for the Saturn Corporation. If you remember the Saturn vehicle, my wife was the #1 salesperson, first woman. So, she sold me cars.
Plastic cars.
But also it ties into the level 1 training program, because there may be a lot of women in the auto industry that would like to switch out, and they could probably test out on a lot of our stuff and get right in, because you're right. I mean, every one of my dealers has a help wanted sign out, every dealer. And I think to our credit, to the industry's credit, they finally stood up and said, this is a problem. And they donated, they put together $10 million to build a facility, and it was in a bank account. It was protected, so it wasn't going to be hurt by a recession. It didn't even get impacted by COVID. You guys just kept right on going because you were fully funded. And it's a recognition that we have to do better. We don't try to hide it with our dealers. Our dealers know they have to do better, and we have to keep these customers happy. More important today, it seems like we always talk about it every week, so I hope our fans don't get upset with it. But the fact of the matter is, 50% of all new RVs are being bought by people who never owned an RV. They go into campgrounds where they've never camped. They don't have any campground etiquette. They don't know anything about an RV. So I'd like to see all the dealers push this as a consumer, on the service counter also, and say, look, if you're mechanically inclined, we have a waiting list for service. There could be delays. It's the nature of the business. The business is off the charts because of COVID and remote learning. Then we should be pushing that out. I know we will at Nerve, but there's a lot of consumers walking into RV dealerships that have the skills that would get them level 1 certified.
It's a good point, Bob. It's a good point. Jerry says, don't forget Liz at Majors. And, when you call Majors, you get Jeff on the recording for 1, press this. But if you press service, she answers the phone. Thank you for calling the service department at Majors. This is Liz. Who am I speaking to? Okay. As opposed to if it was a guy picking up the phone. Service. Service. Like you're afraid to ask them.
Don't you know I'm busy?
Service. I want to do this so bad, says Susie.
Yeah.
Super cute.
Monica says the reveal is March 3rd at the RV Hall of Fame. That's for the draft and fab. I don't know, John. We haven't been traveling lately. Maybe we take a trip to.
I know. Yeah, it's always nice to take a.
Third could be a challenge, but
it's always nice to take a car trip across I-90 across New York State, Pennsylvania, and Ohio.
Through Buffalo and Syracuse.
Week of March,
in March, through Buffalo and Syracuse. Everything I look for. Susie Landis says, "Hey there," and then she says,
"I want to do this so
close to Elkhart." You don't have to. Tell her why she doesn't have to live close to Elkhart.
Yeah, no, Susie, you don't have to live next. Well, it depends on if you're talking about the drab to fab, or if you're talking about becoming a level
okay. Yeah,
because to do the drab to fab, to get really involved with that, yes, you would have to come to Elkhart to the campus. But as far as the education goes, as Bob alluded to, we have a nice self-paced program that you can do from the convenience of your own home, wherever you're at. All you need to have is internet access.
So she says, I want to do this so bad. Okay, Susie, tell us, are you talking about drab to fab? Or are you telling us? She says, I probably look.
Both.
At the website every quarter. That must be the RVTI. Both. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you can start with the online course, Susie, and then maybe somebody in Elkhart will hire you.
Definitely.
I'll bet, Curt, you don't have any trouble placing graduates from RVTI.
Not in Elkhart, at least.
No, actually anywhere in the country. And that's what makes this, one of the attractions of coming in the industry for me was, a lot is people, let's face it, you go to school to learn something so that you can make some money and have a good life. Well, one of the challenges always has been is the ability to get up and go someplace, to have to learn or whatever. And so it was important that we create every possible avenue you can, and including that self-paced program so that you can do this training anywhere. And you truly can. So all you have to do is go to the website, and it'll walk you through it. And I assure you, there is an opening somewhere wherever you want to live. There'll be an opening. We'll help you find it.
Well, what we can do also, John, is and we did this in the fall of last year, but we did a cocktail reception. Nervous sponsored a cocktail reception.
RVWA.
For the RVWA in Worcester, Mass, because that's kind of central to everything. So we should probably look at scheduling another cocktail reception. And then if Curt's not traveling, we could have him, on monitor. Mm-hmm. And then he could explain the program to the women there who could take it back to their dealerships and, invite other people that are associated with the RVWA. So that's something we do. Don Hawes says, better run to therapy. Another great show, guys.
He just got a new shoulder last week.
Yeah, he had a new. Yeah, but Don, the show is every week at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and you went ahead and scheduled your physical therapy during.
He might be in Central Time.
Huh? He is.
He might be in Central Time.
All right, so 6 to 7. But he is.
Yeah.
He's in Texas at the ranch. Okay. All right. Let me take a break because we like to have John do. Where is it?
Yeah, well, we want to tell our people. Well, number one, we want to tell them there's a whole bunch of ways that you can watch this show. Okay, watch or listen. Now, we understand that we are greatly appreciative of the live audience that joins us. However, in the long run, the live audience helps us a great deal because they share it with their people. So there are several people that can't be here at this time because they have jobs or they're going to school or they're taking the RVTI course and they're concentrating on because they're studious. But what we ask you to do is share this so that folks that can't be here at this time can still get the benefit from it. Now, the other thing is this. You can get it on both Facebook, but you can also get the YouTube version. But for those of you that don't have an hour to sit and watch the show, now I know most people would like to sit and watch me for an hour, but Bob is on, so that kind of takes that opportunity away.
I doubt that.
What you now have the capability to do is this is available in a podcast. So go to the place that you normally buy your podcast or get your podcast, because it's totally free of charge. So when you're driving somewhere, you're going on a camping trip or driving to the food store, you can listen to this podcast in the comfort of your own car. So I think it's available at Spotify, and if you just go to a podcast, Google it, podcast. What's the name of the show? RVing in New England.
Good. Very good, John. Very good.
I've done 3 shows today, and I can't remember. But Curt, here's the funny thing. Bob and I just did another show, and he did one thing I was doing. I had to change shirts 3 times today based on what the show was. So it's kind of crazy. But you know what?
What kind of day?
There's no way that this show could be in its 154th iteration if it were not for our live studio audience, and we want to thank them. In fact, because of the milestone that we've made 150 shows, everybody in the audience is going to get a free RV tonight. You just go pick it out at the dealership that you want, and when the finance guys write it in, say, send Curt the bill. Curt the industry guy.
Before we get off that, I just got a note there from Jose that 1 week left for the Care Camp Novo raffle. Thanks to all our viewers for helping us meet our goal. So if you would like to be camping in this trailer next summer, go to rollingontv.com, buy a raffle ticket. This is a customized Forest River Novo that is absolutely incredible with one-of-a-kind graphics. All of the proceeds go to care camps. We had Jennifer Mercer on a few weeks ago, the oncology camp for kids with cancer. So if you can support them, we hope that you will. And we appreciate what Rolling On TV has done in the support of this particular product.
Bob, I think it's notable the fact that they raised $40,000 on their own, and now they've reached that goal. They've still got a couple more weeks left. Try to make it 50. I mean,
right. We want to get to 50. Right.
Yeah.
Wose wants to know.
Very noble cause.
John, Jose wants to know if you're running for office.
Well,
yeah.
The show, especially presidential politics, but if there's an issue in a couple of weeks where neither of them can be declared the winner, I will. Hey, do you know Mike Pence, Curt?
No, but I know his successor, Eric Holcomb, very well.
Right, but I mean, he's an Indiana guy, right?
He is. I haven't had the honor to meet him personally yet.
But there must be somebody there at RVTI that knows in Elkhart
that
knows.
They all
Pence.
do. We had Mike and his wife Karen at the RV Power Breakfast. I want to say probably 5 years ago, because it was just shortly after the RV Power Breakfast in May that he was announced as the VP pick. But Mike and his lovely wife Karen were with us at the RV Power Breakfast. He is very receptive to the RV industry and knows the contributions that all of our people make. Yeah.
So basically, if he stays on as my vice president, I'll go as president.
Oh, that's very kind of you, John.
Yeah.
That's very kind.
We need that RV connection.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you mentioned earlier
that's enough
your team, and I had the pleasure of working with your team for several years before you came on the scene. And one thing that I really appreciate about you is that you have never taken credit for what has been built out there. And because you do have an incredible team of people with Mike and Sharon and Tammy and just the whole staff. And a lot of people behind the scenes don't realize that they worked under conflicting management teams, if you will, because when Curt came, some of our certification was under RVIA, and some of our programs were under RVDA. And there wasn't a month that would go by that I would get a call from a dealer and they'd say, I don't understand this. Am I supposed to call RVIA, or am I supposed to call RVDA, or how does my guy get certified? How do I do this? And you came in and nothing was really broken other than the process. And you had great people, and then you put definition to the process and said, time out. This has all got to be under one entity. and that entity is RVTI. And a lot of credit goes to those because they could have very easily have jumped ship. They were just as dedicated as Gary Bunza. We are very fortunate to have that kind of a team that, when I call them, this isn't an organization where you call somebody and they say, you know what, let me transfer you to Harry. Harry's got that question. Then you get to Harry and he says, I think Mary's got that question. When you call RVTI, every person that answers the phone knows the mission, the value, and the appreciation of the customers who are calling. And am I off base on that?
No, no, not at all. I was still basking in the kudos you were giving to the team. I was like, yeah, it is pretty amazing. But I'll be the first to tell you, even after a year and a half and learning how it was, I still couldn't tell you how you get to second base from first base to third base the way it was set up. And
I don't think you can go there, Curt.
Yeah, I like you said it.
I'm not sure that's the analogy you want to make.
Yeah, but I will say this: with the creation of RVTI, it is a more of a one-stop shop for RV tech training in the industry now, and so that even rolls into how we package it for pricing. The pricing, if you take the course, includes testing, whereas before you had to reach back into your pockets for testing. We'd like to say that we have streamlined it a lot to make it easier for both industry and outside the industry. And once again, I'm going to give kudos to the team. I just had the luxury of walking in and listening and hopefully making sense out of some things that maybe some people went, why do we do it?
One of the things, Curt, is, and I lost my train of thought. All right, I'll go back to Jose. Jose says once you get fired up there again with classes, we would like to go into a story on RVTI.
Don't say fired.
Huh?
Don't say fired.
Well, no, get
classes wrong. Jose, we got to teach you. Don't say Curt. All I read it was Curt, once you get fired. Once you get fired, we've got a job for you and rolling on TV.
We'll go find somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Next. Yeah. That definitely. So you get for your show, I assume that's the Nerve the Show is what we're referencing there, Jose, or what show is that?
No, rolling on TV.
Rolling on TV. Yeah, no, I will say publicly, this is anyone listening. I can't thank Bob and John enough. If there's one thing that I would ask for help on is just spreading the word. It is a great thing. It even if it doesn't speak to you personally, there's somebody out there that could really be helped by the training, whether it's for personal consumer use or just professional expansion. I have talked across, we're about ready to launch a couple initiatives outside, I don't know if everyone's aware, but there is a large push to release some of the non-felons, some of the, people that are in prison that are, whether it be for small drug offenses or bad check writing or something. And these folks are going to, come back into society, and we're setting up training for them to help them get their feet because they know that there's opportunity there. So it's a very expandable program that we can take to so many different directions. We now are approved in the state of Indiana to offer training. So if you're a business in the state of Indiana, all you have to do is send your employee to the Workforce One website, and they fill out an application there, and they go to school for free. And that's something we're rolling out. We have, I'm fortunate to have some resources with RVIA and our great government team who can, scour the country to make sure every state has an opportunity to take advantage of this, both the citizens of that state and the businesses and dealers of the state.
Well, Curt, the timing couldn't be more appropriate because every dealer that we talked to during the summer and the fall all said, I need the help. I need the help. And not from the front end. They need the help in the back end because, you can sell the trailer real quickly, but it's a circumstance that you can't get it prepped. You can't get it ready to go. And with all the newbies that are buying, this is not like 3 years ago when 80% of the people that were purchasing were repeat buyers. Bob and I know directly from talking with the people up at Bailey's. They had situations this summer where they're getting trees taken down and power poles taken down by people backing their RV up for the first time into a camp spot. There's more new people in the industry now, I think, than when the industry started. But you think that'd be a pretty good stat, Bob?
That could be a very good stat.
In the past year.
They just didn't know they were supposed to go through between the trees rather than through the trees. But I want to touch on something that Curt mentioned. If you would, Curt, send me the information, contact people in Workforce One, because every state must have a similar program. And we could, I know years ago I did a program in a prison to teach people microfilming and scanning, and we hired them right out of prison with prevailing wages, and they became very productive citizens.
Yeah.
So
Bob had plenty of time to teach because he was there for 7 years.
I was there for a while, but we could possibly, something for you to think about. But I think we could proctor the online training. I mean, these guys and gals aren't going anywhere. But
Right.
I've got service managers who I know. Well, they're not going anywhere soon, John. But I've got service managers.
I'm not going into a prison.
Well,
I'll look at it from a camera. I ain't going into a prison.
These aren't necessarily they're very low security type establishments.
Right.
And to your point, Bob, this is where you heard me mention the authorized learning partner model.
Right. That's where I was going. Right.
So they basically have a person they provide the RVTI. We train them for a couple days on how to deliver the curriculum, and then we give them the curriculum and what they do before they get released, we actually train them on level 1. So they're coming out certified.
Right.
Technician.
I've got service managers. I mean, my dealers are great, and there are several service managers that I can call up tomorrow
and Curt,
and say, you want to go to Concord, prison and teach them, and they would do it. And when we did that program, we also brought our softball team in, and only once, while I was standing on first base after arriving there with a bunt, did one of them lean over and whisper in my ear, "I'm going to kill you." So only once, but it was a great experience. We had tremendous response from it, and they're like you say, there's a waiting pool of willing people that we could train, and in addition to the military. What are we doing as far as VA training?
So we are actually in the process of working with a school in Florida who already has the ability to accept VA folks. We as a school cannot do it right away. We have to get, because we're a startup, you have to get some time under your belt before you can start receiving VA funds directly. But any VA folks that would call or inquire with us and they have funds to use, we will point them in the direction of any of our learning partners that currently offer the VA assistance. But we're not set up in Elkhart yet to do it, but we will. That's probably about 3 to 6 months away before we can accept them in Elkhart specifically. But to those veterans out there, we will get them in touch where they can use and be learning on the curriculum using their VA benefits.
Yeah, and the same holds true for women too. When we talk about prisons or, incarceration, we're not just talking about men. We have the Framingham Women's Prison, John, right here in Framingham.
But why do you mention my name?
Well, isn't that where you graduated from?
I would go there on weekends because it was easy to find the date, but that was years ago.
I see.
Years ago. Talk about a captive audience.
Well, we've
been everywhere tonight. We're the only show. We're the only show that you've ever been on where people from other shows watch us to get leads. on topics that they can do later on.
What did we leave out? Let me throw up the importance of the certification.
You get fired up. Once you get fired, let me throw up.
Yeah.
Our phrasing isn't good tonight.
Some people may not know the certification process, and I know this was in one of your presentations, but does this apply to the online courses as well as the? Okay, so why don't you talk a little bit about the testing process and
Yeah, it does. But so the certification testing, I can't remember exactly. I think it's on the side. It's a little small here for me to these old 2-year-old eyeballs.
2 tests, 1 attempt each, included fees. Must pass written before moving on. Proctor testing using Nocti within 72 hours of purchase. Of course, emails from Proctor to set up an appointment for testing. Deadlines for testing coincide with end of course purchase. Recommended to test before the end of course, so remediation study is available.
Yeah, so pretty much that, that's the dirty business or the dirty details of certification and how it works. It purely, if you need help or you are interested in doing it, it is what I talked about earlier, where the certification lies outside of us, because we teach all the curriculum, and then Nocti Business Solutions is the one that actually creates the test for us. The nice thing about doing this also is if the test isn't performing, let's say a question is being answered wrong too many times, we can go in and tweak it. So we never had that luxury before. Prior to this, it was a set of textbooks and 10 years of the same material. So that's another luxury we have, because all of our education lives in the cloud now.
Yep.
It's the way to do it.
The cloud's got to be getting pretty full up there, because everything seems to be in the cloud these days.
Yep.
Including us.
So, so you have on level 1, you have the self-study textbooks you can test out. It's a self-paced online program. And if they want to go live, it'll be hopefully go live again in Elkhart in
January.
And then the benefits are you get to join a great career, but accessibility anytime, anyplace, anywhere. No need for travel, no work schedule interruption, training, textbooks, and testing in one packaging price. Built-in virtual labs for reinforced comprehension and retention, mobile and desktop delivery. That's a big thing these days, being able to do it on the computer, on the tablet, on your cell phone. I mean, you can do it in the parking lot, on the cell phone, while you're eating lunch, if you're looking for a career. Student in complete control of his or her learning space. All except Walter Swenson.
Learning space.
There's an asterisk there. It says all except Walter Swenson.
Yeah. So just like, this is new. It's not new in education per se, but it's definitely new for the industry. And we had a great relationship with a third-party instructional design group that helped us put this together. And we're going to continue to have that relationship as we roll out level 2 in this online self-paced format as well. That'll come in early spring, and we'll probably move a lot of the trainings to an online format. It just is the way it is right now. That's the.
And you know what? Even when you get back to live, a lot of places. We talked to somebody else tonight. Where was? Oh yeah. I talked to another program today, having nothing to do with this, but they said, look, they're 100% online right now. But they said, based on the success of this, that even when they go back to live in person, they're going to keep a portion of their courses online because the geographic capability is unmatched.
Yep. Same thing with people working at home. Walter will tell you that, it's more productive. They're getting a lot of work done, and it's surprising them. So we won't see all those big buildings. Curt, when somebody, because we are pushing that closing hour, let me just make sure I didn't lose anybody here. Jose says, I'm Portuguese, not Italian. Jose, I don't know what that's got to do with this show.
No. When I said to him, you can't write.
I know when you interact with John and I, you really want to be Italian, but I can't help you with that. Tammy says RVDA has been a great supporter and contributed to the RVTI. Susie Landis, Pennsylvania, please. I don't know. You gonna do training at Hershey next year if they have Hershey, and with their Gary used to do some of the training up there.
Yeah, we're actually working very closely. A good, strong partner, just like NERVDA, is PRVCA.
Right.
That group, great partner with us. We're actually going to be doing a PR piece with them to talk about the partnership. They're going to become a learning partner with us. So they'll have the capabilities of actually doing it themselves if they choose to, or we will get our instructors out there. Whatever is the most convenient for them.
Yep, I want to be like Heather when I grow up. When I have a real association, I want to be like Heather. And I know they just hired Greg DeWalt as their education director, and he owned a dealership. He's well respected in the industry, and that was a great move. So Susie, if you are not familiar with the Pennsylvania Recreational Vehicle Campground Association, prvca.com or .org. But check that out and see the host of programs they have.
Just Google Hershey RV Show.
Yep. Tammy says, Jose, email me. Okay, she can take care of that. Cheers. This show is like happy hour, Jose says.
Hold up in your hand what he means by happy hour.
Yeah, well, he's off. Oh, you mean Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ryan. I got here on time. Jerry Plant says, are there any yearly recurring training requirements? You probably should mention the price, because the price is probably less than your first two service bills that you're going to get at a dealership.
very much so. So we have two different pricings. If you are in the industry in any fashion, call us up, let us know that, and that is $995 for this course. If you're not in the industry, that's okay. It's a little bit more. It's $1995 if you're not in the industry. And I would say call us either way or check, because a lot of times, like you said, that workforce one, there's ways to get things paid for without even taking the dollar out of your pocket. So
great. Super. All right. And we'll close with Walter. He says, Walter is our guardian angel. If John and I ever thought we could get off course or do something different, Walter is going to catch us. He first says, certified in Microsoft, Red Hat, and other IT technologies, might as well start with the RV industry as well. Only to be followed by, you have a problem in your order from online employer phone, put NA if no employer doesn't allow text. So that's a good point. Well, what we asked Curt is, and I know you're extremely busy, but tonight, tomorrow, over the weekend, if you would go back, because all these shows are archived on our site, and go back, because we missed several comments because they're active people, and answer them directly with respect to the questions that John and I may not. I mean, John and I are smart and we're good looking, but sometimes we just don't have the answer.
Yeah, no, definitely, and don't.
Are you agreeing with that John and I are smart and good looking, or are you agreeing with something else?
Of course, I agree with all advertised.
I don't know, I think he's trying to bail himself out.
Hey, he's a good guy. He bought us good pizza when we were at Elkhart. And ladies and gentlemen, finding pizza in Elkhart is not an easy thing to do.
Tell him who that was.
That was, it's called Yaketa, and in Welsh it means cheers, and it's a local husband and wife. The pizza's only second to the best craft beer in Indiana, if not in the United States too. So we enjoyed a good evening with you gentlemen.
Yeah, we've sampled it.
We always have fun, Curt. We always have fun.
Yeah. All right, Tammy's going to get a hold of Walter and take care of that. Dante wants to know the number, the telephone. What's the telephone number over at RVTI? We'll post it down below, Dante. But if you got it off the top of your head.
Well, you know what? I'll give you my personal cell, because that way I make sure I get you taken care of. 614-570-2293. And the website has it, as well as, I know, Bob, you can throw it up later. But feel free to call me directly, and I will get
Did I get that right?
There it is. That's
Okay.
it. You can,
So there you go.
you can text to that too.
You text to that, and you can talk to Curt personally. Curt, I want to thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to. We don't get together often enough because we have a lot of fun, and also you bring your wife, which adds an added. She brings some normality to the conversation.
Yeah.
And by the way,
you're so.
Regardless of when you view this, remember Curt takes calls 24/7.
Curt, my phone will ring 24/7.
I know. It doesn't mean you're going to answer it.
You just won't answer it. All right.
But you can
Walter ordered the book.
To that number.
Walter ordered the book, so that's pretty good.
So you go.
Awesome. Thank you, Walter.
You figured something out. Can you imagine Walter teaching the class, John?
Yeah, if you fell asleep in class, he'd throw something at you.
He would.
Hey, you know what? Actually, you bring up a good point, Bob. We're due to the growth we know that's coming and already happening. For all those retirees out there that have been turning wrenches or wanting to get into teaching, we're going to be looking for teachers to teach us across the country, as well as we're going to be seeking a director of education that we're going to add to the team after the first year. So
great.
Let us know if you're interested.
Great.
He really does take calls 24/7.
And Tammy says he really does take calls 24/7. I know.
Hey.
I've told him. He does.
He's on vacation today. Let's give him some time. He's down in where'd you say you were?
Hilton Head.
Hilton Head.
Yeah.
Going out for a beverage.
All right.
No, you got spaghetti tonight, right?
What's that?
You got spaghetti tonight?
You're right. You saw Tracy. She was out there cooking. House smells great right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, tell her we'll be right over. Tracy, we're coming over, Tracy.
Oh, you're always welcome. You know that.
You've been generous. We've run over, which you try not to
by
do.
10 minutes.
You're so generous with with their time. Curt, thank you again. We will be in touch with you soon, and happy trails, and keep up the great work over there.
All right. Thank you, John. Good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.